In this episode, we're going to talk about the rewards of a deeper, quieter life.
I'm Sienna.
And I'm Toast.
We've been partners in life, love, and music since 2001. And we believe life is best lived as a love story. Your love story.
After all, to love well is to live well. For more, check out siennaandtoast.com. But for now, here's this episode.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the podcast. We are recording this on Sunday, April 12th, which means for us, this is day 31 in self-quarantine. That's like a month.
It's kind of a banner. It's a banner day in self-quarantine.
And it's also Easter.
Yes, happy belated Easter. By the time we release this, you will have had your Easter. We hope it was good.
Easter.
Hope it was celebratory in the way that it could be.
Okay, so let me tell them what we're making. Oh no, did we decide to forego the...
Tell them what I got an A in effort for.
Oh, okay.
Or A for effort.
All right, so I think we mentioned in one of the other episodes that one of the beautiful things about Christmas and what we get all excited about are the lights, the decoration that you get to put up. And we have it was actually a training tree for Bear to see how is he going to react to a tree. Is he going to just like paw off all the ornaments?
You know how cats will famously jump into a Christmas tree?
So this was a small training tree for Bear, and he's done really well with it. And so now we decided, well, this is just a cute tree. We can just continue to keep it as Bear's tree. I went so far back in telling the story, didn't I?
It's obviously...
I'm giving like the history of the tree.
It's obviously a fake plastic tree.
Yes, it's
very
a fake
tiny.
tree.
Just goes on a small little coffee table. It's a tabletop kind of thing.
But after Christmas, we decided, let's leave this up. We get so much joy from having this up. And because we live in Portland, Oregon, that's kind of the everyday decor out here, right? You just look out and there's a million pine trees.
Christmas trees out there.
So this is our indoor pine tree that has white lights on it all the time. But for Easter, Toast decorated it with ivory ribbon. And the topper was a purple ribbon because she asked me this morning, is purple an Easter color? And I said, yes, it is. And there was a purple ribbon on the top.
It just so happened that in my little plastic box of leftover ribbons that I saved from things, I had a little purple ribbon and a longer ivory ribbon.
I can't understand why you have a box of ribbon.
I'm full of surprises.
Like Toast has a box of ribbon. I don't know. That doesn't... I feel confusion in me when I even just saying that or hearing that from you.
I like to kind of throw people off, like, yes, in my box of ribbons.
But we could have really, I just kind of forgot that this weekend was Easter. But we could have really done up this tree because Bear has Easter eggs, those plastic Easter eggs that he loves to play with where you put something inside and he rolls it around. We could have strung those up like little ornaments.
Oh, geez, strung it up. Wow.
Like as little ornaments, like put a little thing and then hang it.
Yeah, that's very ambitious.
No, it's not.
It's not?
No, it's not.
Well, we still have time.
Effort for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah, you were being festive. You're helping to, create a nice holiday atmosphere.
Trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the day is still young enough that maybe we could get out some of those plastic eggs. And while it's still Easter.
I'm kind of over it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because it's kind of like that thing, like when you put up the Christmas decorations, it's the taking them down. And Easter is so fast. We're going to put them all up and then take it down tomorrow?
Oh, no. I wasn't thinking of creating ornaments or anything. Just putting some out and
putting them in a bowl.
Tossing them in the carpet and sitting back and seeing if Bear does anything. That's all. Just really low effort.
All right.
I'm
down for that.
Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah.
But I want to share with the people that this past week, we spent just maybe an hour max, or maybe 45 minutes, truly organizing our garage for all of the stock up, and we
Our
have
case of refried beans.
yeah, like our food stuff
and rice.
and we organized the tea, coffee, just beans and soups and
It sounds like we're cowboys.
different things. And we have a certain food area, and then we have a like toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies. We have all of that in another area versus just having it in one big heap in the garage, which is what it was.
Yeah.
One heap. And then Bear's food section, his stock up. So that, to me, feels so good to just be able to see what you have.
Yes. And, that's a great example of one of the rewards of deeper quiet, I would say.
Very true.
Because when you have clutter, that's a form of noise.
Yes. But we're going to get to that.
Okay.
I'm just catching them up on things that have been going on.
Okay. Okay.
Like, for instance, yesterday, Toast and I participated in our very first Zoom birthday party. Which was really just odd and
but yet fun.
Interesting.
I liked it.
And
Did you?
I did. And one of the things that we were saying is that, our friend who invited us or any of us, you can do a Zoom party anytime. Really. Right? But normally, before all this COVID stuff, normally our friend who moved back to Hawaii, she would just probably have a party on her own or a dinner with family, and we wouldn't be a part of that. But in this way, a whole bunch of us from all over were a part of it.
People from the East Coast and the West Coast and
Canada,
Hawaii were all together on one Zoom call.
Yeah.
And it went really well. It was nice to see
glitches.
people's faces. The only glitch, and it was, pretty entertaining, was the end when we attempted to sing Happy Birthday.
Oh my God, that was
and
horrible.
The Zoom platform was just really confused about who was talking.
Yes, because explain how Zoom, how it will, when you talk, it will show you.
Yeah, like
the camera switches,
Zoom can,
right?
Yeah, so Zoom can know whose computer is picking up the sound of them talking, or and that's the person who gets the highlight on their screen, right? Yeah. So obviously, when all of us tried to sing Happy Birthday at the same time, Zoom was very confused, and that was entertaining.
A lot of noise for Zoom. Yeah. And we will say, though, that we are aware of the recent issues regarding Zoom, and I think they're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Privacy
We're not really
stuff,
saying
you
like,
know.
oh, do Zoom, but we did participate in our first virtual birthday party. Which, was interesting. And it makes me think, this is a really nice way to connect after we get through all of this. Having a little mini Zoom party just to say hi and connect is actually a nice thing to continue on, I would say.
Yeah. And personally, I know I have reached out to people that I kind of, not completely lost touch with, but I was in very sporadic touch with certain people.
Yes.
And since this whole self-quarantine thing,
I know you're so consistent.
I reached out, and it just motivated me more to establish those connections again, even with family. And so,
but I think
that's a good part of the kick in the ass, you know?
And I think people need to know that you're not really, your old self was not really the texter. You're kind of like,
Yeah,
but you've been like replying and maybe not hearting, but like thumbs upping,
participating,
I'm
getting out there.
Yep.
Getting out there into
great.
the cyber space of it all.
Yeah. What about cantankerous cats?
Oh, that's right. Cantankerous cats.
Yeah.
So that's the name of a card game that we received as a gift at some point. I don't even know. We've had this box of like cards for
Years.
over a year.
Years.
And
it was the hardest card game I've ever played. What?
It's so
is
funny
going
because
on?
it's so funny because it's a special deck of cards and it's got a miniature game board and little pieces and everything. It's this full-on game where you are a cat and you're trying to like cause mischief and stuff like that. It's a total cat lady card game. Well, we played it.
It was fun, and I got very competitive, though, I gotta say.
Okay. We only played it once.
Well,
So
because
we
it just took everything out of me.
But yeah,
Because it's confusing.
They have two versions. Like they have the basic version where you're just learning and it's not too many complicated rules. So we need to play that again, get more comfortable with it. And once we're really comfortable with it, then we can graduate to the more complicated version where there's additional rules and game pieces and so forth.
But don't you think we didn't play it right? Like there's something still missing because we were only focused on the certain cards.
Possibly.
Yeah.
See, I need to study
Something
these
is not
rules
right.
again.
Yeah.
But that's why. We only
Anyways.
did it once. So it's kind of like we barely took it out on a training wheel drive. So
Yeah.
we got to get our cat lady energy up and play the Cantankerous Cats card game again.
Yes, but check it out because it's a pretty strange game. All right. Okay.
Or don't.
I think we are done with we've caught everybody up with everything.
With enough.
Yeah.
I think they've had enough.
Yes.
The catch up. But you know, it really depends on what situation you're in the self-quarantine. But hopefully you are in a situation that allows you to cultivate and appreciate, and that forces you to cultivate and appreciate quiet.
I will say that last week's episode about ramblings about smartphone addiction, because of that title that we chose, I think some of the our listeners were confused
Oh,
because it was like, wait now. This smartphone is really helping us all stay connected. Very true, very right. Yes, so grateful for our phones, so grateful for technology. But
it cuts both ways.
what is that?
That was a Gloria Estefan song from
1981 or
the
something, I don't know.
90s, probably. But that's what the smartphone is. Of course,
Yes.
it does serve a purpose.
Yes. But
Yeah.
we were
You and I.
finding,
Okay.
that wow, we are using it way more than ever, or beyond using it to connect with others. It's just that, the habit is just kind of growing exponentially. Like, wow, we're just using it all the time now. And so for us, we were like, okay, let's reestablish new boundaries around it that still allow for more usage for the purpose of connection. So with that though, and almost like, I think because of what's happening with COVID and the self-quarantine and trying to maintain connection with everyone, it's almost like we've gotten this green light to, use your phone 24/7. Use it.
Okay.
And I think that I don't think that's great. I think it adds to the noise. We still have to be discerning.
Right.
And I know it's kind of like, now while we're all going through this, it's like maybe some of you might be feeling like, no, don't lecture me now. No, I don't want to.
Understandable.
No, I'm not going to watch my habits. I'm going to just bring it into the bathroom and do whatever I want. Yes.
And you
go
can.
for it.
Yeah.
Go.
Of course
Do
you
it.
can.
Do it.
Yeah.
But this time is also so opportune to truly cultivate intentional quiet and make sure that balances the the increased use of our phones and technology and connecting with others, because I would say that I think for most of us, we're connecting with others way more than you know, than before, than when, than prior to March 12th.
Yeah.
Way more.
Because our lives
Way
are
more.
less filled with things like being able to go to a concert.
Yeah.
Or even, it's even a little dicey to take a walk, depending where you're walking.
Kind of.
Depending.
Yes.
Right, where you're walking.
Yes.
And then some places literally have an order where they're telling you, no, stay at home.
Right. Like
Don't maybe
go
you
for
could
a
leave
walk.
to walk your dog, but that's it. You want to exercise? Go do some push-ups. Go do some burpees. Go do some jumping jacks. You don't need to go outside for that. So, yeah, if we're not, if our time is not able to be used for things like going to a museum or whatever, just strolling down downtown sidewalk and window shopping, you're reaching for your phone. Because that is the window you have
That
into anything
is.
outside of the four walls that you are in.
Very good point. Yes.
And thank God for that technology,
Yes, thank
as
God
you
for
said.
that. Yes, thank God for that.
But as we all know by now, these smartphones have been especially designed to be addictive.
Do people know that?
I think a lot
to
of,
be
I think
generally true.
I
Like,
bet
do people know?
most of our listeners are aware of that. I think they're pretty savvy, and so the designers of apps and social media platforms are in business, and the way that they make money is the more time you spend on it.
Yeah.
Right? Your engagement, your likes, your comments, your shares,
All of it, yeah.
all of that. The more time you spend on it, the more money they make. So they're invested in making it addictive for you, just like the slot machines at Vegas. It's specially calibrated in every way possible to try and keep you on there. So no wonder we find that the path of least resistance is to stay on there.
Right.
If we're not exercising our intentional will, and it does take that, then we will find ourselves looking up after hours, wondering what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So one thing I found interesting about the deeper quiet of this time is what's happening in nature. Because I've seen, ironically, posts on social media about how, for example, the canals in Venice have
Yes.
cleared up because
The
humans have
world.
stopped their activity,
Yes. Yes.
and how the Himalayas are now visible from certain cities for the first time in 30 years because
amazing.
humans have stopped
yes.
their activity. And that's a beautiful picture of our souls and how our souls can be so agitated and full of distractions or
Pollution.
pollution, in the form of social media posts and notifications and dings and rings and alerts
even the internal chatter.
and news and worrying and planning and strategizing.
Yep.
And while all of those things may have its place,
And they do.
yes, there's also a really meaningful place for the lack of them and just quiet, stillness,
Totally. Yeah.
to be able to access the bird song and in the absence of traffic noise, to be able to access the starry night sky in the absence of light pollution.
Yeah.
Right. And though there's a kind of stillness and quiet that just magically, I don't know how to explain it, but I think it is the way of the world, just in the same way that being out in nature in a beautiful setting, in clean air, in an environment of undisturbed wilderness, it's healing, it's soothing, it's calming.
Yes.
Right? There's some way that beauty just is healing.
Mm-hmm. And it's also, so beauty to your own eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you see as or deem to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I think very few people on a clear night seeing the beautiful full bright moon would not be affected by that, right? It's a language. Mm-hmm. And I think too that when we are out in nature, like true pure nature, mm-hmm. it's the energy, the vibration that these plants and trees and all of that are giving off.
Yeah, the combination of everything.
It's all of that. It's the oils, right? The actual oils from the tree mm-hmm. that are being emitted, and mm-hmm. we're breathing that in, and we're in the presence, and all of that is so uplifting and so healing to all parts of ourselves. And you really we're trying to break it down, but you really can't break it down. You just know that when you're in that presence and you walk away, your shoulders are down, you can breathe, you're taking deeper breaths, your stomach is relaxed. Yeah. It's just an ease and a wellness feeling mm-hmm. that we feel.
And that explains why I think people in like hospital rooms that have a view out to the natural setting, mm-hmm. they'll recover mm-hmm. faster.
Yeah.
Than somebody who's in a hospital room where there's no windows. You're just in a, yeah. What's neat, I like your comment about the moon, because if you imagine yourself standing outside at night where, there's a full moon and you can see the stars, I think it's just as easy to acknowledge that your capacity and your ability to appreciate that mm-hmm. and to benefit from it mm-hmm. is affected by your own internal mental chatter.
State. Yes.
And like so and I think while that kind of stillness can mm-hmm. be the stillness that's out there mm-hmm. in the material world, like whether it's literal noise from traffic, for instance, or whether it's internal noise, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think that moment when you say, or not even deliberately decide I'm going to go out and look at the moon, mm-hmm. but like if you pass your window and you're like, oh my God, the moon. Mm-hmm. For that moment, you are seeing the outside, you're experiencing that stillness that's outside.
Yes.
But even just stopping to observe and take in this beautiful moon, mm-hmm. no matter for how long, whether it's 5 seconds or you're standing there for now like 15 minutes, you are instantly in a moment of quiet mm-hmm. to take that in.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're looking at the moon, you're not talking, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I am when I'm going, oh my God, come look at the moon. But then that's it, right? And it's like, and it's just that feeling. And I think that, when we first moved to this place that we're at now, mm-hmm. one of the beautiful things from the balcony is that night sky view.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes.
And even the direction where at night and early morning, it's right at the moon, Yeah. It faces the moon. And I think the timing of when we moved here, the skies were just so clear that it was like, where were all these stars from the other, at the other place? Mm-hmm. We didn't have that vantage point.
And the other place, there was more light pollution.
Yes.
And noise pollution.
Yes. 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 And we're in such a quiet place now.
Yeah. Compared.
Yeah.
It is neat because I know that, this place is quieter by comparison, but I try to use my phone mm-hmm. to use the voice memo and record the sound of the birds in the morning.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's this one particular bird.
He's so talkative.
And he will
But he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
We like you, bird. If he's a listener, in case you're a listener, maybe it's a female. Anyway,
I think it's a boy.
but
Okay, anyways.
what was interesting is that when I played it back, or actually even when I listened more closely, because I was making the recording and I wanted to capture the sounds of morning.
It doesn't
right?
translate, does it?
Well, when I paid more attention, I could hear, oh, there is still traffic noise. It's just farther away, but there is still traffic noise. And so I guess my point is just that everything's relative. And our reward in cultivating deeper quiet, paying attention to deeper quiet, again, our rewards correlate with cultivating our capacity and our sensitivity, you know, to be able to
hone in on the bird.
Yeah. What comes to mind, the thing I'm trying to articulate is captured in a saying. Something to the effect of wealth, the true wealth, and the best kind of wealth does not consist of accumulating more stuff. Instead, it consists in having a capacity to really, truly be satisfied and filled up with less. You know, because if you develop a great sensitivity to appreciate things, right? And I think that's analogous to cultivating the ability to invoke a quietness within your soul. Because when you can access that level of quietness, then any appearance within that realm, whether it's bird song or starry sky or a bag of chips, you're going to experience whatever does appear in that realm in a deeper, richer, fuller way.
Yeah, and I think that this whole thing with, or what we're finding to be a reward for these more intentional, deeper, quiet times, or at least cultivating and making sure to have intentional quiet time to sort of like build that muscle in a way. I think what that really does is it brings us more present to the moment.
Exactly, yes.
And I think that present, that cultivating that deeper awareness and being present in the moment helps us from just that consumption, you know, like just consuming and taking in. So like the bag of chips.
And trying to numb.
Right? Exactly. Like, so, and this goes back to what we first started with the phone. Like, how much do you need to be on there to consume and
scratch that itch?
Watch this thing and watch that thing and then jump over here. And then now you're on this train from one account, you jump to another account, to another account, to another account.
Yeah. You're just being dragged along.
While you're eating a bag of chips and now you're 3/4 through the bag of chips.
And
right?
you've got crumbs all going down your shirt.
Versus like really cultivating that quiet so that you can hear through any noise, you know, and being able to mine the bird song amidst the traffic. Because what's interesting is that with your regular ear, without recording the bird, right?
Without paying much attention.
Right. But then I think you were paying attention. I think you were paying attention. You were just finely tuned because you have such a good relationship with being quiet. You were finely tuned to the bird. You were finely tuned to the frequency of nature. And that's what you would hear. And I think that's so important because out of all the things just like swirling around us, what, for instance, like in our head, right? All the thoughts that go through our head, or we lay down, put our head on the pillow, and all these thoughts come up.
Yeah.
Which thought are you going to give the power? Which thought are you going to zero in on and now pay attention to that? You're paying attention to the bird. And then when you took you just took a recording of it, and then you're like playing it back to listen, then you're like, oh, there is traffic sound. Oh, there is, but I think that you have that ability because you have such a great practice with.
Well, that's what I was paying yeah, I wanted to hear the bird.
Yeah,
my ears were like, bird, give me bird sound.
But that's such a great thing. And I think this also relates to all the stuff going around about COVID, right? It's like, what are you going to pay attention to? How much are you going to stay informed? Or how do you even stay informed in a reasonable way?
Right.
Without then going down the rabbit hole of, oh, now they're saying this. And, oh, my God, now this. And, because they're saying, I think, well, I don't need to bring it
without
up.
going into
I was gonna bring
paranoia.
up exactly. Like there's some stuff that came up that someone texted me, and I'm like, really? Like, are we doing enough?
God,
yeah,
come
like,
on.
Now it's gonna come in the house that way. Like I was just like, oh my gosh. And yet, you want to stay informed.
Yes, and
you want to pay attention.
Here's another case to be made for quiet.
Okay, tell me.
Because let's say, we'll take this as a potential hypothetical. Let's say that the best practices have now changed so that it requires more of you. Let's just say.
Okay.
Well, you're going to be in a better position to rise to that occasion if your soul has been strengthened and bolstered by the quiet. If you are in that situation and you hear about, okay, you know what? It's going to require more of you now. You'll feel closer to being up to the task versus if you hadn't cultivated the quiet and you came from a place of scattered hither and yon and
crazy cuckoo.
Yeah, scattered all over the place and, just all these kinds of things shooting around your brain like a bunch of marbles. And then now it's like, oh, now you're going to need to do more. It's like, oh my God.
Yep.
Ah!
Yep.
Now you think about that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So all we're saying here is that, now might not feel like the time to really be cultivating a quiet practice, but there couldn't be a better time, really.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be so intense and also too, we're not trying to make anyone feel bad about overusing their phone. I mean, we're doing it. We're overusing our phone.
Probably.
And we're trying to, scale back.
But
and
exactly.
we're just all trying to we're all doing the best we can.
Progress, not perfection.
Yes, exactly that.
And let's, those who have ears to hear, let them hear, right?
Exactly.
Those who are interested in trying to cultivate more of that moderation. You're our people.
Yep.
That's all.
So realign with quiet.
Yes. So we join together with you in the space of silence, which can say more than words many times. And thank you for joining us.
And let's just leave it at that.
That's right.
Let's just give some silence.
Amen.